Back in 2019, hitting your Toyota Camry's side mirror on the garage door was annoying, but it didn't break the bank. You'd just go buy a new housing for $300, spend an hour fixing it yourself with a screwdriver, and you were done. But now, if that same mirror has a blind spot sensor, a heater, and a 360-degree camera, you're paying $1,500 just for the part itself. And that is before any labor starts. Once you pay for the work and the fancy calibration to make sure the camera points at the road and not the sky, you're out $2,000 for a piece of plastic. It is a total nightmare. We are not just buying car parts these days. We are paying for a huge tech shift that is changing what it costs to own a car forever. In a few minutes, I will show you a bill for one small scratch that cost more than a good used Corolla. I will also explain the one part making insurance companies total cars that look perfectly fine. You will see why your rates are going up even without tickets, and how to spot these repair traps early. If you miss this, you might lose your whole car over a broken $50 sensor. Why did the cost of fixing cars suddenly shoot way past normal inflation? It feels like a secret deal between your mechanic, the insurance companies, and the car makers. But the truth is actually much stranger than just higher prices. We are stuck in what experts call the complexity trap. It means our cars got too smart for our own bank accounts to handle. Look back 20 years. A car was mostly just hardware. It was made of steel, rubber, glass, and simple metal parts. If something broke, you could usually see it. A wire snapped, a bolt broke off, or a seal leaked. You fixed the physical part, and the car ran again. Today, we drive what the industry calls software-defined vehicles. Your car is not a machine with a computer anymore. It is a computer that happens to have 4 wheels. This change has killed the driveway mechanic. You know the guy, your neighbor who could fix anything with a basic toolkit and some beer. Those days are gone. You cannot wrench your way out of a software bug or a bad radar sensor. If you try to swap a part yourself on a new BMW or Cadillac, the car might not even start because the new part has not been introduced to the main computer through a special digital handshake. Then there is the mess with the supply chain. We all heard about the chip shortage during the pandemic, but the problem never really went away. The just-in-time model, where parts arrive at the factory right when they are needed, broke down and is not fully recovered yet. This means parts are harder to find. They sit in shops longer, and those extra shipping costs end up right on your final repair bill. But the biggest change is in the insurance math. The total loss limit has moved. In the old days, a car was totaled only if the frame was bent or the engine died. Now, a car gets junked because the cost to fix the safety tech is more than the car is worth. If you have a 5-year-old car worth $12,000 and a small hit needs $7,000 in sensors and software, the insurance company will just give up. Let us look at how sensors are everywhere now. This is where the tech really hurts your wallet. It is all about ADS, which stands for Advanced Driver Assistance Systems. This includes things like automatic braking, lane keep help, and cruise control. To make these work, your car needs a nervous system. A new front bumper is not just plastic and foam anymore. It can have up to 14 different sensors inside. You have sensors for parking, radar for cruise control, and cameras hidden behind the logo. Think about the difference between breaking a wood ruler and breaking a phone screen. One is a cheap piece of wood. The other is a sensitive, complex tool. When you hit a pole in a lot, you are not just scratching plastic. You are knocking a radar out of place. That brings us to the big shock of modern repairs: calibration. This is not just a 5-minute fix where a guy turns a screw. It is a huge project. Often, it needs a special clean room with a perfectly flat floor. Some systems need static calibration, where the shop sets up big boards with specific patterns around the car. The car's computers then read these targets to check the sensors. If your lane keep camera is off by only 1 degree, it might think a car in the next lane is right in front of you. That causes phantom braking, which is when your car slams the brakes for no reason at highway speeds. Because the stakes are so high, shops charge a lot for this. The software work alone can cost more than the actual bumper. If you had a repair quote that shocked you, tell me the price in the comments. I want to hear it. And subscribe for more. But wait, the tech is not even the most expensive part. Wait until you see what they are making the frames out of now. We are seeing a materials race in the car world. Makers are under pressure to make cars lighter to save gas and get more range out of electric car batteries. This has killed old-school steel. Instead, we use ultra-high-strength steel and aluminum. These materials are great for safety. They are very stiff and can soak up a lot of energy in a crash. But there is a catch. You cannot just pop a dent out of this new steel. If this metal gets bent, its internal structure changes. It becomes weak. If a shop tries to pull it back, it might crack in the next crash. So, the shop has to replace the whole section instead. Old cars were built like heavy iron pans. They were tough, and you could beat them up and they still worked fine. Modern cars are built like soda cans. They are smart, very light, and very efficient. But once you crush a soda can, it is basically trash. You cannot uncrush it and expect it to be strong again. It is just done. Here is a detail most people do not know. Car makers are moving away from welding. Instead, they are using structural adhesives. It is basically super strong industrial glue. This glue is often stronger than a weld, but it is a nightmare to fix. If a shop does not have a special $50,000 machine to heat that glue to the exact temperature, they cannot fix your car. They are not allowed to. If they try to bolt it, the car is no longer safe to drive. So the parts cost a lot and the metal is strange. But there is a human part to this that is making things worse. We are facing a huge labor shortage in the car world. For every 5 mechanics retiring today, only 2 new ones are starting in the field. And the ones coming in must do more than just get dirty. Your mechanic is not a guy with oily rags and a wrench anymore. They are basically data scientists in work clothes. They have to understand complex wiring, computer protocols, and high-voltage systems for electric cars. This needs thousands of dollars in training and special certificates. Because these master techs are so rare, they cost a lot of money per hour. In big cities, some shop labor rates have hit $250 or even $300 an hour. That is more than some lawyers charge. When you take your car in for a simple sensor problem, you are not paying for someone to turn a wrench. You are paying for a specialist to find a path through a digital maze using a tablet that costs $15,000 just to run the software. It is crazy we are losing mechanics. If you like the people keeping you on the road, hit like. And if you think you can just buy the parts yourself and skip the dealer, you're in for a very expensive surprise. Welcome to the world of parts monopolies and software locks. This is the front line of the right to repair fight. Makers have started VIN-locking parts. This means a part, like a light or a control box, is tied to your specific car. If you go to a junkyard and find a good headlight for your car and plug it in, it will not work. It might flicker or just stay dark. Your car's main computer looks at the headlight, sees that the ID does not match the car's VIN, and refuses to give it power. To fix this, you have to go to a dealer so they can use their special software to unlock the part. You have to ask the car for permission to use it. It is just like your printer refusing to use cheap ink, but instead of an ink cartridge, it is a $3,000 LED headlight. There is a growing market for hacked tools from overseas just so small shops can do basic tasks, like telling a car it has a new battery. Yes, even some batteries now need a registration process with the computer, so the car knows how to charge it correctly as it gets older. It is really getting that complex. All of this creates a huge insurance loop. Your rates are not just based on how you drive, they are based on the average cost of repair for everyone else. Because repairs cost so much, the number of total losses has gone up. It no longer makes sense for a company to pay $10,000 to fix a $15,000 car when you add in all the other costs. One of those hidden costs is the rental car. Because parts are often on back order and the calibration takes so long, cars sit in shops for weeks. If your car is in the shop for 3 weeks and the insurance company pays $50 a day for your rental, That is another $1,000 added to the bill. You pay for that delay in your monthly premium every single month. Totaling a car is now the fast fashion of the auto world. It is cheaper to throw it away. I have to show you this one truck repair because it proves things are getting crazier. There is a story about a Rivian owner who had a very small accident. Someone hit the rear corner of his electric truck in a parking lot. It looked like a simple dent in the back. On a Ford truck from 10 years ago, a shop would just cut that panel off and weld a new one on, or maybe even just pull the dent out. But the Rivian is built differently. The whole rear fender is actually one big piece of metal that runs all the way up the roof and over the doors. It is a huge, complex part. Because of the design, the shop could not just patch the dent. To fix it right, they had to literally cut the whole side of the truck off. The final bill? Over $40,000 for a dent that did not even break the light. Then there is the headlight horror. Modern LED lights are amazing. They can dim specific parts so you do not blind other drivers while keeping your high beams on. But one headlight for an Audi or a Cadillac can cost $3,500. Think about that. One light costs more than the whole engine of an old Honda Civic. If you are in a small crash and both lights break, you are at $7,000 before you even buy a bumper. And do not get me started on windshields. It used to be that a rock chip was a $50 fix. If the whole thing cracked, maybe it was $300 for new glass. But today, most cars have the safety camera mounted right to the inside of the glass. When you replace the glass, you have to move that camera. And because the new glass might be slightly different, the camera must be recalibrated. I have seen bills where the labor was triple the glass. So, where does that leave us? The era of cheap, reliable cars is being traded for safe, high-tech cars. We are basically renting the high-tech features of our cars through higher insurance and repair costs. If you want a car that is cheap to fix, you have to go back in time. We have to ask, is the safety worth the cost? Modern cars are much safer. You can walk away from crashes today that would have been fatal 30 years ago. The sensors that make your bumper so expensive are the same sensors that stop you from backing over a tool or hitting a person you did not see. But the cost of that safety is a car that is basically disposable. We have traded the mechanical for the digital, and in doing so, we have made the fender bender a thing of the past. The next time you see a tiny scratch on your bumper, do not think of it as a small mark. Do not think it is something you can just buff out. In the eyes of your car's computer, that scratch might as well be a total system failure. We have traded the wrench for the laptop, and while our cars are smarter than ever, they have never been more fragile. We are driving around in sensors wrapped in thin metal, and our bank accounts pay. Think about the long-term impact here. If cars are being totaled at a higher rate, the used car market will keep shrinking. The affordable $5,000 car is disappearing because those cars are all being sent to the junkyard the moment they get a dented bumper. We are moving toward a world where you do not really own a car's life anymore. You just use its technology until the first big repair bill is due. When you go to buy your next vehicle, look past the leather seats and the big screens. Look at the bumper. Count the sensors. Ask the dealer what a windshield costs to replace. Because in the world of the complexity trap, the most expensive car is not always the one with the highest price. It is the one that is too smart to be fixed. Keep that in mind before you sign the papers. The path forward is not clear. Some states are passing right-to-repair laws to force makers to share their software, which might bring costs down a bit. But the materials and the sensor tech are not going away. We have crossed a bridge, and there is no turning back to the days of simple steel and old cables. We just have to decide if we are willing to pay the tech tax every time we pull out of the driveway. Every time you hear that beep from your parking sensor, just remember, that beep is powered by a system that costs more than your first car did. It is a miracle of engineering, but it is a miracle that comes with a very high price tag. We have made our cars almost uncrashable, but in the process, we have made them unfixable. And that might be the biggest mistake the auto industry ever made. Look at the way we talk about cars now. We do not talk about power or speed as much as we talk about screens and apps. We have accepted that our phones will be old in 3 years, and our laptops in 5. But we used to expect our cars to last 20. With the way repair costs are going, we might have to look at cars like an iPhone. Once the screen breaks, it is usually better to just get the next model. But a car is not a $1,000 phone. It is a $40,000 investment. And when that investment can be wiped out by a shopping cart or a small slip on an icy road, the money situation for the average driver looks much worse. We are living in the age of disposable luxury, where even the most basic car is a high-tech gamble. It is a strange time to be behind the wheel of a machine we cannot afford to hit. So, next time you are in a parking lot, maybe give that concrete pillar a little extra room. Not because you are worried about the paint, but because you are worried about the 3 radars, the 2 cameras, and the 4 hours of software work that are hiding just behind the plastic. The fender bender is not just a bump in the road anymore. It is a financial cliff. One wrong move and your car is gone for good. This shift also changes how we have to think about emergency funds. It used to be that $1,000 in the bank could cover almost any car surprise. A new alternator? $300. A set of tires? $600. But today, $1,000 does not even cover the fee to look at the car and calibrate one sensor. If you drive a car made after 2020, your car fund needs to be at least triple what it used to be. And what about the environmental impact? We talk a lot about green cars, but is it really green to scrap a 3-year-old car because a sensor bracket is bent? The carbon footprint of making a whole new car is massive. By making cars so expensive to fix that they become disposable, we are creating a mountain of high-tech waste. We are saving gas, but we are burning through raw materials and energy at a very fast rate. We are also seeing a shift in the salvage market. People used to buy salvage cars to get a deal and fix them. But now, even those people are struggling. If you buy a salvaged Tesla or a high-end Mercedes, you might find that the maker has blacklisted that car. They can remotely turn off fast charging or cut off software updates. This kills the second life market for these cars, making sure they stay in the junkyard forever. This is the reality of the modern car world. It is a place of great safety, amazing performance, and terrifying repair bills. We have traded the simplicity of the past for the security of the future. But we are finding out that security has a very high monthly cost. The complexity trap is closed, and we are all inside it. Think about the head.